Going on, everybody? It's Stas here. So the stock market had a great day today, guys. S&P 500 up 40 points, up 1.2%. The Dow Jones ended up going up 420 points, up 1.6%. And the NASDAQ 100 didn't do as well, up only 30 points, up 0.3% on the day. And in this video, we're going to be talking more about the stock market, breaking down some technicals, going over a bunch of stocks that I'm watching and looking to buy right now. And I also want to break down a couple of things here for the election tomorrow, what I personally did in the markets today, and I also want to go over my thoughts in general and how I'm approaching this week here in the stock market. So if you guys find value, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and check out the Strive Smart Discord chat and Facebook group link down below. And for some reason, WeBull keeps pushing back this 3 free stocks promotion. So you guys can still get that if you guys want to. Deposit $100 using my link down below, and you get 3 free stocks from WeBull valued up to $1,600. So let's get into it, guys. And today, like I said, was a pretty nice day in the markets. S&P 500 up 40 points, up 1.2%. And we can see here on the 5-day, 5-minute, we gapped up this morning. We closed Friday. I don't want to say close. Well, the low on Friday was at about 32.30, right? And if you guys remember on Friday, we had a pretty big rally into the close and after hours. Let me show you guys here SPY, which is an ETF that tracks the S&P. Take a look at this price action, right? We rallied into the close Friday, and then we ended up going up after hours all the way to about 328 here on SPY, and the S&P was right around, I'd say, 3280, right? And then today, Monday, right, that gap up, that rally that we saw on Friday kind of bled into today a bit, although we did see the futures red yesterday. And like I say all the time, guys, the futures flip-flop, right? I believe they were red at first, then they turned green, and obviously the market went up. And then we saw that gap up. S&P opened up at about 32.95, saw the pop up to the infamous 33.30, that big level we've been talking about. And then ever since then, we pretty much descended for the rest of the day, right? We hit 33.30, we hit a lower high after that, lower low, and then we closed up on a nice upswing here at the end of the day. And if I go on the intraday chart, you can see it a bit clearer. But although we did close on the upswing, although we did, it's still on a downtrend, right? We still have not broken out of that downtrend for today. So for tomorrow, guys, it's election day, and the market's 100% going to be rocky. It's going to be a roller coaster, a lot more of what we saw today. I mean, yeah, we went up 40 points, but the market was up and down all day. It's not like it was a smooth uptrend for the whole day, because it clearly wasn't. So watch out for 33.30 on the S&P, right? Notice how on the hourly chart, we're under 33.30 and that 50 SMA and the 180 SMA, which is a bit worrisome. This very well could be a bull trap in the markets right now, guys. And the technicals are not lying. I mean, we failed breaking out of that resistance from Thursday at about 33.40 as well, right? We're at a lower high based on the overall trend, and this very well could just be the continuation of the downtrend. So what am I looking at for tomorrow? Are we going to end up gapping down in the morning? What are the futures going to be looking like? If the futures take a big plunge overnight, and then all of a sudden large caps are down big tomorrow, let's say big tech brings us down, and notice, guys, big tech has been red. Although the markets did well today, big tech didn't. Microsoft was red, Apple was red, Facebook was red, Amazon was red. The only 2 green ones were Google by a very slim margin and Netflix by about 2%. So let's say big tech, I don't want to say falls off a cliff, but let's say it ends up declining a little bit. We might see a bigger slip in the markets, as those companies, those 5-6 companies we mentioned, they have a massive weight on the overall market. So this rally scares me a little bit. The strength of it scares me a little bit due to big tech not following. But then again, on the flip side, let's say big tech has an explosion, let's say they go up aggressively, let's say we have another day, like recently we saw a couple big tech names up 5% in a day, up a couple percentage points in a day. Let's say we see a big pop in big tech, and the markets, other companies do well. I mean, that could be a surge in the market. So it kind of really boils down to, what does big tech do tomorrow, as they, at the end of the day, guys, control the market. So watch 3330 S&P. That's big. If we don't get out of that level, we might be going lower, no doubt about it. Dow Jones, if we take a look here, it actually ended up doing better than the S&P, technically speaking, right? Because what we can see here is we ended up breaking out of that resistance from Thursday. And again, S&P didn't break out of the resistance from Thursday. So the Dow Jones, the past couple of days, 3 trading days, does seem a bit stronger. And that could come down to them not having as much tech exposure as the S&P does. And what we're noticing here is today we actually hit a higher high. I mean, we hit a higher high compared to that high on Thursday. That's a good sign. We pulled down. We held 26,700 as a support at a higher low, and we rallied into the close, so that's a good sign as well. And overall, we're out of the 50 SMA here, resistance on the 30-minute chart, 10-day 30 minutes. So for tomorrow, I'm watching 27K, guys. We failed there earlier today. We failed all day at 27K, so if we break that level of resistance, Dow Jones, I think, has a bit of I don't want to say a ton of upside, but it could end up rallying maybe to 27,300. Let me extend this to the right to show you guys. Let's pull back a bit. Let's say 4-hour chart here. You guys can see, okay, 27,000 is a big resistance. And again, the next big gap is 27,300. So watch out for that move. That's if 27,000 breaks. And if 27,000 doesn't break, and this 50 SMA on the 1-hour chart doesn't break, Dow Jones might be going back under that key. Let's see here, that key 26,700 level of support now. So watch those levels on the Dow, on the S&P, and the Nasdaq 100, guys. It's not looking good like the S&P, right? The past couple of trading days, we've been making lower lows, lower highs. We failed breaking out of the highs from Friday and on Thursday, which means the bears are still in charge, no doubt about it. And you can see that on every time frame, 5-day 5-minute, 10-day 30-minute, 20-day 1 hour. All the time frames are showing the bears are in charge. So what are the key levels here? 50 SMA on the hourly chart, right around 11,250 to 300. That's a big, big level of resistance, as well as 11,000, which somehow, guys, the Nasdaq 100 ended up holding 11,000. So we're trading between 11,000 and 11,300. Whether we break out of 11,300 or break under 11,000, that's going to obviously take time to see, and that is going to determine the direction. If we break 11K, we see big tech sell off. Hey, Nasdaq 100 is for sure going lower, but if we see an explosion in big tech, we might break right through 11,250, 300. That's just the honest truth. So let me know down below in the comments, guys, what are your thoughts on the markets? Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you in cash? I'll go over that in a little bit here, but first, let's talk about the election. And I couldn't tell you how many questions I've gotten about this, and I don't like getting political here on the channel, but the fact that the election is tomorrow, let's talk about it for a minute or two here. So I've been getting questions, like I said, Stas, who's going to win? Is it Trump? Is it Biden? Will the stock market crash if Biden wins? Will the stock market go up if Trump wins? The truth is, guys, the market, and you'll learn this, the stock market tends to do the opposite of what you think. So, for example, the narrative right now is, okay, if Biden wins, the market's going to crash. What if the market goes up if Biden wins, right? What if the market goes up and you're left without getting into the market because you think it's going to crash? That's going to turn you into an emotional wreck, right? Because let's say you think the market's going to crash if Biden wins, you're all cash, and you're like, okay, you're rubbing your hands, you're like, okay, when Biden wins, it's going to crash. I'm going to get in at the lowest price, and I'm going to be a genius, right? And then all of a sudden Biden wins, the market shoots up, and then you're left in cash and you miss the move. So what I would really say, and the same thing with Trump, right? A lot of people think the market's going to go up if Trump wins. And okay, what if it goes down if Trump wins? So what I would say to you, and I've showed this chart in the past, I don't have it today, but you guys have seen it. Every time we've had a president, Republican, Democrat, the markets have gone up, right, from a long-term perspective. So if you're a bit nervous here in the market and you have a long-term perspective, I wouldn't sell anything. That's the truth. I would have some cash, though. That is another truth here. Let's say I was in the markets 70% in the markets and then 30% cash. I think that is a very good spot to be, because if we get this volatility, which it's going to happen, if you have that cash, you'll be able to take advantage, right? But one thing that I don't like is being fully cash here, right? Yeah, I have a good amount of cash, but I think being fully cash is a bit risky because you're risking missing that move, whether Biden or Trump wins. And that's just the honest truth. And at this point in time, and again, I'm not an election expert, I'm not some political genius here. Quite honestly, I don't like politics. I don't really involve into it. I obviously look into it a little bit, but I'm not the big politics guy. I mean, if that's why you're here, you're obviously not here because of that. But if you're interested in my political view, just go to a different channel, guys, because that's not what we're going to talk about here. Let's be honest. But Biden looks to be winning the popular vote, right? So if we're counting up just get rid of the Electoral College. If we're counting up all the votes here, Biden is winning. The polls show by a landslide, right? That's no doubt about it. And at this point, we have a couple of states that are very, very critical. Pennsylvania is a very big swing state here. Pretty much, if Trump loses Pennsylvania, you're going to see Biden be the president, most likely. That's what I've been hearing, right? And again, I'm not some election expert, but this is what I've been hearing. PA is huge. PA is a huge swing state. Another one is Florida and North Carolina. Those are big states for Trump. And if he ends up losing Florida, losing North Carolina, losing both, that's going to be a Biden victory, right? So watch out for Florida tomorrow. North Carolina, those are going to be big. And another big thing here, guys, and that's kind of all I've got on the different states there. Again, I'm not a political genius, guys, but a couple of other things here which I think are interesting. What industries are going to benefit from a Biden victory or from a Trump victory? From a Biden victory, let's talk about that. This is going to be great for zero emissions, like electric vehicles, right? He has the Green New Deal. He wants to make the USPS obviously all green, where Workhorse comes in, right? And a lot of these other companies, they want to adopt a more green strategy, right? So that's going to be great for EVs, companies that deal with all of that stuff, right? And also industrials, guys. We see the infrastructure bill. That may go into effect. They could end up planning that out. And companies like Caterpillar, Honeywell, a bunch of other companies that have the equipment to build all of these, all the infrastructure, right? Those businesses will benefit most likely under a Biden victory. And what would benefit under a Trump victory are energy, right? Which is obviously kind of the opposite of zero emissions electric vehicles. Trump is going to benefit energy, which at this point has been crushed. We've seen Exxon, we've seen Chevron. These companies are getting decimated. So under a Biden victory, I'm not going to say oil is screwed, energy is screwed, but it's a lot worse off than under a Trump victory. So look out for energy if Trump wins, and financials. I think financials, quite honestly, are going to do better under a Trump administration, another Trump administration. So, on top of Exxon and Chevron, watch out for companies like JP Morgan, Bank of America. Watch out for companies, I don't want to say Wells Fargo because they suck, honestly, but watch out for Wells Fargo. Watch out for the banks. And Biden, again, the EVs, watch out for companies like Tesla. Watch out for companies like Neo, right? Watch out for companies like, although Neo's a Chinese company, they could come here to the U.S. Who knows, right? They can start making trucks or cars and stuff here soon in the next couple, years. We'll see, guys, right? And we also have companies like Workhorse. I want to say Nikola, but you guys don't want to talk about Nikola, and you guys get the point, right? You guys get the point. So Biden victory, EVs, industrials, builders, right? And then Trump victory, energy, and financials. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about that? I would love to know. And again, not to get too political, but you guys have to watch out for this stuff because the election is tomorrow, and it's going to be very, very hectic. And in terms of what I personally did today, I didn't do anything, right? Like I said earlier, I think it's a good position to be in right now is not 100% cash. That's too risky, but I think a good position to be in, and obviously it depends on your personal risk tolerance, but I think anywhere from 50 to 30 to maybe 25, 30% cash to about 50% cash on the high end, right? That's a good position to be in. And me personally right now, I'm at about 35 to 40% cash in my swing portfolio, and I'm in a couple of different stocks that I didn't add any into today, right? I pretty much just watched the market rally, but again, this could be a bull trap, which is why I didn't want to deploy any capital before the election. So I'm in Apple at 115. I initially bought. I bought more recently at 109.50, and I plan on buying even more at $105. That's my next buy target here. The next gap that has to fill to the downside is right around 105. So Apple is one that I'm pretty bullish on. I think next quarter is going to be great with the new iPhone. The new lineup is incredible in my opinion. 5G is revolutionary. So I think Apple is going to do well in the coming months. If Trump wins, if Biden wins, it doesn't matter. I think Apple is going to do well. And mind you guys, whether Biden or Trump wins, money is still going to be printed. The Fed's still going to print money and even more money under a Biden victory. So if you're one of those people that really track that stuff, the printing of money, and you understand how it affects the market, you can arguably say a Biden victory might even be better just because, for the stock market that is, just because of the sheer amount of money printed that's going to honestly inflate the asset prices, real estate, and then stocks. Then you might be saying, Stas, if Biden wins, he's going to change the corporate tax structure and so forth, which I guess is a good point. That's a good rebuttal. And quite honestly, guys, I think that might not happen until down the line, maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years into the Biden administration. But what's going to happen now is the money printing, and that's going to have a pretty sudden effect on the markets that's going to shoot us up regardless. So I'm in Apple. I'm in EA, Electronic Arts. I want to add more to this, but it's kind of like a falling knife at this point. So I'm going to give it some time to maybe bottom out. We actually have earnings coming up here on the 5th, which, gosh, that's actually in 3 days from now. That's on Thursday. So we have EA coming up here. I'll probably wait until after earnings to add more to that position. And I'm also in good old Workhorse, which I think will heavily benefit under a Biden administration, 100%. I think it's going to do well under a Biden administration, and we see it coming up on a big level of support, guys. $15 is massive. $15, $16. If that level breaks, we're going to be at points where we haven't been at since June. I mean, ever since that massive run-up on Workhorse. So I'd watch 15, 16 bucks. I'm personally in the 20s, so I'm down a bit on my position, but all of these are longer term swing trades, right? And I plan on adding more to all of these. And honestly, we have earnings coming up for Workhorse on the 9th, so I'll probably wait and see what those look like, how much they're losing, guidance, and so forth, and then add more after that. So overall, that's what I'm doing here, guys. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? As always, I would love to know. Now let's talk about some earnings reports, and really we only have two to talk about. PayPal, PYPL, ended up doing EPS of $1.07 versus 94 cents. Estimated revenue came in at $5.46 billion versus $5.43 billion. So a double beat there on EPS and revenue, although revenue wasn't as nice of a beat as EPS. It doesn't matter. I'll take it, guys. And PayPal saw total payment volume growth of roughly 30%, sales growth of 20 to 21%. Or actually, no, let me take that back. That's the guidance. They actually see total payment volume growth of roughly 30%, sales growth of 20 to 21%, and EPS growth of 27 to 28%, and that's for 2021. And let me double check that. That has to be, that's full year 2020, guys. So all those numbers, that's the guidance for full year 2020, and that's some pretty strong growth, guys, for PayPal. And the stock's actually down a good chunk after hours, down about $11 at the time that I'm filming this video. So I'm watching PayPal maybe as an overreaction play. Earnings were pretty solid. Growth is pretty solid as we're moving more to a cashless society and the e-commerce society as well. E-commerce is spiking up. We're seeing PayPal do well. So we're coming up on a 170 to 172 level of support. I'm looking at that here for PayPal. And take a look. Square is also selling off on PayPal's earnings, and Square's coming up here on the 5th for earnings as well. It's on Thursday, so watch out for Square on Thursday. We're down from 155 at the close, down to about 152 right now. We ended up getting rejected at 157. Now we hit a lower low, so this is not looking too hot for Square, technically speaking, but I think both of these stocks, Square and PayPal, are beaten down, arguably PayPal more than Square, and I think they're going to bounce back, but the question is when, and we just have to wait and see what the trend is showing us, right? And that's another thing, right? For the election, for stocks in general, don't just have these biases on stocks like, oh, I think the market's going to explode. I think the market's going to tank. I think this stock's going to go up. I think it's going to go down. Don't have those biases. Trade what's in front of you. And that goes for the earnings here, the different stocks, and that goes for, of course, the market as a whole during these turmoil, rough, volatile times. Take that into consideration. Just trade what's in front of you. That's very, very important. And AMC also reported, and this is arguably one of the most battered down companies in this whole crisis. EPS came in at negative 570 versus negative 495. Estimated revenue came in at 119.5 million versus 160.9 million estimated. So a double miss there for AMC. And they have about 539 of 600 domestic locations operating right now, and about 261 of 358 international locations operating. So obviously those aren't all operating at full capacity. I don't even know. They're probably at like 10 to 20% capacity, and they're just losing so much money at this point, guys. The stock is the company's near bankruptcy. This is very risky, but if we get a big turnaround here, who knows? AMC could be one of those bounce back players, maybe not back up to the price before the crisis here, but maybe from $2 to $4, $3.75. That's still a massive return if we do get that little bounce back. So I'm watching there for AMC. It's risky, guys, but there could be some bounce back potential. And that's pretty much all here for earnings. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Now, let's talk about some other stocks here that I'm keeping my eyes on. Starting off with Plug Power, guys. And Plug Power was up 10.5% today, up $1.47. And this was a big break for the stock. I mean, we broke out of the 50 SMA resistance that we actually talked about last week. I mean, take a look at this arrow that I drew last week in last week's video. We talked about the second 50 SMA on the 4-hour chart breaks on Plug. There's going to be a massive uptick, right? We got volume kicking in today. We got RSI taking off, showing strength, right? and we got that break above the 50 SMA. That's looking very, very strong in my opinion, and that's really solidifying the higher low here and the 180 SMA pop that the uptrend is continuing. So maybe I wouldn't get in right now. Maybe I'd like to see some sort of a sell-off, maybe to $15, some consolidation there. But overall, the momentum is shifting from down to up, and there's a lot more upside from here, guys. I think plug power could end up getting back to $16, $17, maybe $18 in the next couple of months. It has that type of potential. So I'm watching plug here. Nike is another one, NKE, that I'm personally watching. We had a double top a couple weeks ago. Big resistance at 130 to 132. 134 is the high here on the 4-hour chart. But as of late, you guys can see we pulled down and we've been consolidating on top of an old resistance as a new support at $120. Take a look here at the 5-day, 5-minute. We held it once here on the 28th, 29th, 30th, and today, 31st, or actually not 31st, the 2nd of November, we ended up holding 120 roughly. So that's a good sign that we are finding support. But now I just want to see a full-on breakout that we're heading back up to the mid-120s. That would actually give me quite the confirmation that we could end up entering and riding it back up to the resistance here on this channel, which is about 130. So I'm watching Nike between 120 and 130. I think there's some potential there. Another one is Etsy, guys. ETSY. This one reported last week. Solid earnings from what I remember. Let me double check that. But overall, the stock went down from 154. Now it's down to the mid-120s, about a $30 drop. And we're still holding the uptrend. Let me extend this to the right for you guys. Actually, let me just redraw it. But if I redraw it for you all and you see it, we're still on an uptrend, and we're actually, seems like we're getting into some sort of, I mean, we're already in it. We're in some sort of wedge here. So I'm thinking if Etsy can hold 126, get above 130, get that momentum churning, volume as well, there is some upside here. I don't know about 150s, but hey, maybe up to the 130s, 140s. That's possible here with Etsy. And another one is Grubhub, guys. It had an amazing rally to $86. Now we're pulling back down, looking to test those highs from back in the beginning of July at about $73. If we hold that as support, which we've rallied above 73 before, guys. We just did a couple weeks ago from 73 to 86. We did that back in August as well, from 73 up to about $80. So I'm thinking if 73 holds, we get the confirmation of the break here on the hourly chart above these moving averages, both the 50 and the 180 SMA. We might be seeing a pop on Grubhub back up mid-70s, high 70s, maybe even back up to the 80s. So I'm watching Grub. I'm also watching Upwork here, guys. It's been beaten down from 21 down to about 18. That's an open up of about 15%. A couple bucks there opened up. Margin of profit, right? We're at about an old resistance here at about $17.50, $18. We're reaching that 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart. So yeah, I mean, Upwork's getting attractive, guys, and plus they're reporting earnings. Is it this week? Oh my God, it's this week on the 4th of this month. So watch out for Upwork earnings. I'll probably wait until after that, since I'm not a big fan of buying stocks that I'm short-term swing trading and holding them through earnings. That's not my game. That's not my MO, but I'll be watching it regardless, guys. And if they show some nice guidance, a beat, we get some upwards momentum, I'll be getting into it after earnings. We just have to wait and see. And another big one that reported some nice delivery numbers today was NIO, guys. And NIO never fails to disappoint. They had delivery numbers of 5,055 vehicles in October 2020, which is a 100% year-over-year increase. That is insane. That means, for you guys that can't do math, let me do the math for you. That means last year, in October, they did about 2,500 vehicle deliveries, which is why this year, 5,000, that's a 100% increase. And they're also reporting earnings this month on November 17th, which is about 2.5 weeks away. So we do have some time, but guys, I wish NEO, let me take that back. I don't wish NEO falls. I'm really happy NEO's up. I have a long-term position in NEO. It's doing extraordinarily well right now, but from a swing trader's perspective, I want it to come down. I want it to come down to a healthy spot because, quite honestly, 35 is ridiculous. Not saying the stock's not worth that, but I think it's overbought in the near term. I think we need some sort of sell-off, and I think we'll get it. Honestly, I think we'll get it. We just have to be patient. I think we can get a sell-off to the low 30s, maybe high 20s if we're lucky, maybe 28, 29. I think that would put it back into healthier range for NEO, and let me know your thoughts down below on that. I would love to know, and if you guys are enjoying the video, hit that like button for me. Thank you. That means a lot to me. And Tesla is another one here that's showing a sign that we saw a couple months ago right before the breakout. Take a look here. A couple months ago, back in the beginning of Actually, no, that was the end of June. End of June into July and all the way into August, we got ourselves in this wedge, a symmetrical triangle wedge, whatever you want to call it. That's more like a wedge. We got ourselves into that, and we squeezed out and saw a ridiculous rally from 285 to 500. Now, we're seeing that same pattern pretty much, a similar version of that pattern breaking, setting up here, right? Where we're squeezing into this wedge, and the next time we break out, we might see a massive leg up like we saw a couple months ago. Maybe not up a ton like we went a couple months ago, but if we break 415, 420, break these moving averages on the 4-hour chart, we may be heading somewhere to the high 400s, mid 400s. There's potential maybe even back to the 500s. Again, like I said, a Biden victory is going to be great for the EV companies. So watch out for Tesla here, guys, on either break to the upside or the downside, right? If the downside breaks, we might be going up, or rather down, to the high 300s again. So check out for those different levels here. And AMD, we got some ridiculous buy orders here. We were talking about it in the Discord chat. Some big buy orders here. You can see on the times and sales, we got some big buy orders come in, and they're still coming in now, it looks like, and after hours. And this is showing some buying interest at about $74. And honestly, I'm getting intrigued by AMD. The lower it gets into the low 70s, high 60s, I'm attracted. If it even gets to the high 60s, quite honestly, I don't see it getting there. But I said I didn't see it getting to 74, and here we are. So anything could happen, guys. But I'm thinking 74 is going to hold. I think we might see a short-term relief rally. We're seeing a lot of buying up on the times and sales. Let's see level 2 here to see if there's any big orders sitting. You see here there's a 300 or 3,500 shares sitting there to be bought at 74.57, so we'll see if that ends up getting filled. But overall, it's just, I don't know why it's going down. This stock, they just acquired a company. Their earnings were pretty solid. There's a lot of growth in the next coming years. But hey, I guess it's a gift, right? If we get AMD at 60, 65, if that happens, I'm going to be buying it. But again, if 74 holds, we might see a relief rally, maybe back up to $83, which could end up really panning out as a reverse head and shoulder, as you guys can see, signified here by the blocks on my ThinkOrSwim platform. So what are your thoughts on AMD? Let me know them down below. And MJ stocks, guys, are going to be ones to watch, no doubt about it. CGC today ended up going up like crazy, and this is another industry, I didn't mention it earlier, I'll say it now. This is another industry that if Biden wins, they're going to do well, which is why they're going up today, up 11% for Canopy Growth, which is unbelievable. We ended up breaking out of $20. That's a big resistance. We ended up almost breaking $21.40, another big resistance. So I'm looking at a potential sell-off and a hold at $20 for CGC as an entry point. And if Biden wins, these can go higher. I'm convinced. I think CGC, the MJ stocks in general, they've been crushed, guys. They've been crushed. And a Biden victory, he's looking to decriminalize. You know what? This is like the light at the end of the tunnel, if you may, for some of these companies, right? That's huge, and they might see a spike because they've been beaten down the past 2 years. and it's time. It's time, I think. So watch for CGC, watch for ACB. That's another one. That's Aurora. That's another one over there in Canada, and it's actually over in Europe as well, in a couple of different countries. So these are the ones I'm watching out for. ACB was up almost 17% today. Unbelievable. And there's a bunch of others like Tilray. Let's see if I remember some off the top of my head. Tilray was up 16%. Cron, let's see what Cron was up today. Cron's up 13%. So these are a couple guys. And yeah, I mean, we'll wrap it up there. I feel like I've been talking for a while. This video's 34 minutes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. If you all enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I know I don't like getting political, but since the election's tomorrow, just let me know down below who you guys think's going to win. Who you think is going to win, not who you want to win. Who do you think is going to win? And tell me a little bit why you think that. I'm really interested, guys. And again, don't fight. This is not a place to argue and battle and just be combative. No, we just want to have a nice conversation, civil. Who do you think is going to win? Let me know in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to claim your 3 free stocks from WeBull, valued up to $1,600. All you have to do is deposit $100, and that is how you get your 3 free stocks. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, get ready, guys, for the roller coaster tomorrow. It's going to be great. Stay safe out there. Peace out.